over the last few days. In the 3:45, Bonnie Scott and the Voltigeur put in at 13-8, with Assessor 5-2, Colorific Burlington Bertie 100-30, 5-1 Sonus, and 8-1 Alflora. And in the 4:15, the sprint, well, it's take your pick here. Cumbrian Waltzer is put in favourite 15-2. One phone went 11-1 this morning, and it was favourite last year when 6th in the race, when 6-1 favourite when 9th, running in the race for the third time. 12-1 Bertie Worcester, that's running in the race for the fourth time, and won it 2 years ago. Adwick Park also a 12-1 chance. Lots of them there on 14 and 16-1. Was the kind of race that you'd like to be a bookie in if you could find punters to bet in it. But there is no steamer today, nothing really well back today, and the early show here in the 2:35 goes 6-1 the field. That's Canvas and Darrow, both within at 6-1. It's then 7-1 against Three Wells, 8-1 Faugerot and Farmer's Pet, and it's 10-1 Bar. And look what I found here, my goodness, how old are you? Two. Are you backing any winners? I think you will. Back the first. Back more winners than an old man. Let's have a look round. Look at the camera. Oh, it's starting to cry because I'm near. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Is this the mum? Where's the mum?
No.
You're not the mum. Oh my God, we're in awful trouble here. Not the mum. I can guarantee she's not the mum. Well, look at him. That's understandable, isn't it?
For meeting only one race hold and in deep trouble already. Well, the race called Melrose Handicap, it's the stayers, 3-year-olds, mile and 3/4. It's one of those ones, a lot of them haven't been to the trip yet, so you can work it out all sorts of ways. A fascinating handicap to play in. If you have done already, 15 face the starter, listed by Graham.
And the top weight is Spike and I, ridden by Richard Quinn. Number 2 is 3 Wells by John Reed. Number 3, Labilio by Michael Roberts. Number 4 is Flight Lieutenant, written by Lester Piggott. And number 5, Bergeron, Walter Swinburne. Number 6, Alcanac, Frankie Dettori. Number 7, Canvas by Pat Edery. Number 8, Farmer's Pet, the mount of Gary Carter. Number 9 is Darrow, who's visored today, Steve Cawthon rides. Number 10, Teddy's played Michael Hills. 11, Green Lane, Willie Carton. 12, the visored Suez Canal, the mount of Paul Edery, right on cue. Number 13, Take My Storm, written by Dean McEwen. 14, Miss Pin-Up, Darren Biggs. And number 15, Kadari, ridden by David Harrison, who claims 5, but in fact putting up 4 pounds overweight. As they make their way down to the start, let's check the odds with JT.
Thank you, Graham. Canvas and Daru are the 6-1 joint favourites. 3 Wells on 7-1, and Farmer's Pet a 9-1 chance. Bergeron on 10. The video is at 12-1, along with Spike and Art and Teddy's Play, together with Green Lane, and they go 14-1 bar there.
Yeah. Well, as Bruff has already said, a real teaser. John and I have had a good look at these for the last 15 minutes. They're all shapes and sizes. There's one of the favourites, Canvas, the mount of Pat Edery, with his tongue tied down today. Canvas, that is. Pat Edery on board for the first time. This horse comes here with an upward seam of form. His best run was last time when he was second to Tell No Lies. He tries 1 mile and 3/4 for the first time. The trainer, and presumably the jockey who rode him last time, think it'll suit him. If that's right, John, he's got to go well.
Yes, he never really settled when he ran. He actually ran a good race when he was second. And I never thought that he actually gave himself the best chance to get the trip, and considering that he didn't settle, he stuck onto his task really well. Pat Edery got the ride on him this afternoon. George Duffield, who rode him, has gone to Folkestone, but he's a very nice looking horse. Whether he gets the trip or not, time will tell. Good mover. Darrow, right in the foreground there, another one of Sheikh Mohammed's runners. It's the horse who helped get Steve a slight holiday after just scraping home at Goodwood. But the form is quite a few horses finished close together on that occasion.
Yeah, it's difficult to know what to make of that. Strictly speaking, the handicap has given him plenty of weight. It's just, John, that having watched him run, although he's by Caro, and Caro isn't really a strong influence for stamina, not when you think of 1 mile and 3/4 plus, but this horse actually does run as though longer would suit him.
Well, Goodwood, he did well to win at Goodwood, considering it is a sharp course there, and got nice long straight here this afternoon, so it ought to suit him more, but whether he's good enough or not, I think that's the case, and I'd certainly rather the back Sheikh Mohammed's other runner, Canvas.
Well, it's a beautiful day here at York, very little breeze, and I'm sure the jockeys enjoy the meeting because they get a chance to more or less socialise as they walk across the course. They've left here in plenty of time, given the horses a canter. Now it's a chance to cool down, get collected before the event itself. Two jockeys there, Michael Roberts in Lady Beaverbrook's colours with crossbelts, and Richard Quinn in the colours of Lord Howard de Walden. And we'll stay with Spikenard, whom Richard is riding. And she's a filly that's had 4 races this season. As you see from that card, she's won 3 times. John, she's improving. Despite top weight, you think she's got a good chance because she is progressing. My doubt about her is that her improvement has come on her last 2 starts when she's had some give in the ground.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to interfere with her action too much this afternoon. Although the time was very fast in the last race, you could see just by watching the horses that they were actually getting into the ground a little bit at absolutely perfect conditions here this afternoon. And she was in season throughout all of last year. And Mr. Alwyn said could never really get her right. Well, she's certainly not stopped improving this year. And whether top weight will stop her this afternoon, we'll find out in a few moments. Labilio, though, in front, the mount of Michael Roberts. He's been in reasonably good form, actually ran in the Derby and finished 3rd the other day. I thought that he ran a decent race there at Ascot behind Fast Manoeuvres, over 1.25 miles, trying to step up a little bit.
He's been unlucky when you think that Fast Manoeuvre went on to run well in a listed race, and earlier in the season he ended up giving Landowner weight in a handicap and finishing 10 lengths clear of everything else getting beaten. He's also run in the Derby. It's amazing he's not yet won a race when you think that he's had those sort of tasks.
Certainly doesn't look overburdened at 9-2. The horse that probably looked best of all in the paddock beforehand is there in the foreground. That's 3 turns, horse of 3 wells rather. Mr. Dunlop's Saddler's Wells colt, and he ran at Goodwood last time out. Normally held up this horse.
Yeah, he didn't quite find what I think the jockey expected last time, and the time before, both those runs you can look at the form book and say, well, they were really good efforts under the weight, but I think the jockeys who rode him produced him to win, and each time he's just hung fire a little bit.
Yeah, there's not much to choose between him and Farmer's Pet, and also Fozier and Strictly on a line through the weights.
Well, as you'll see, there's a clear favourite. JT will sing you through it.
And it's Daru at 6-1. Canvas is 13-2 from 6s, and 3 wells on 7. Farmer's Pet at 9-1. Fozier on at 10. Papilio 12-1 along with Spikenard, Teddy's Bay and Green Lane. Al Karnak is 14-1 from 12. Take by Storm, another 14-1 chance along with Miss Pinup. And there goes 16-1 Bar, and 3 wells has just gone to 8-1 from 7. 3 wells, 8-1 from 7.
Well, with the cross belt is Gary Carter riding number 8, Farmer's Pet. This filly's been a great servant to Gavin Pritchard-Gordon. She's improved significantly for him since being given 1 3/4 miles and then 2 miles. However, since she's gone up in the weights, maybe 2 miles stretches the stamina just a little bit further than is ideal, i.e. she didn't have so much in hand nowadays. Before racing, Derek caught up with Gary and asked him, as the filly was coming back in distance, today is 1 3/4 miles, last time was 2 miles, what his views about her stamina were.
Probably suited her quite well. We thought that she didn't quite get the 2 miles, even though the campaign was the 2 average at the end of the year. We thought she didn't quite stay. So to bring back the mile 6, she's a real galloper, and they'll all be chasing me.
So you're going to be up there right from the word go. It's a competitive race.
I should think I'll make the running. She's very, very quick, and she's a real galloper.
And you'll be there at the line?
Hopefully.
Frankie Dettori left a picture there, but we're looking at Gary, and Gary's just starting to ride a few winners. He had a quiet start to the season, John, didn't he?
Yes, it's just how a run goes. It's the same. I was talking to Michael Bell before racing, and he had a very quiet start. Now he's having a really good time. He had 34 or 5 winners already, well on his way to beating his best score. And a few winners from a jockey's point of view just give you that extra bit of confidence sometimes in a race. If you've had a really good run, then you can afford to sit still. Well, there's Fozier on. Only had the 3 runs, as you can see. Quite a lightly made horse, and has really little chance of beating 3 turns on the run last time at Goodwood. I thought probably 3 turns was a little bit unlucky in that race. Jeff Ragg's horses, they've been in tremendous form.
This horse totally unlike his half-brother in appearance. A lot of you at home will know Arcadian Heights, who's a huge, big, round action type by Shirley Heights with a good set of teeth. This horse, totally different, as John just said, much lighter, carries little condition, although what there is of him looks tremendously well.
Yeah, if you backed him, you'll probably see him 3 parts of the way down the field, normally held up. There's some late news from Max, so let's hear from him.
Well, I'm also a huge round action big type, as Jim described it, but they're going for Daru here, the favourite. That's now 5-1 Daru from 13-2. 7 favourites and 36 runnings have won it, but only 2 have won since 1974. Been a good race recently for the bookmakers. Been some money for Canvas, the second best, back to 6-1 from 13-2. It's an 8-1 3 Wales, 9-1 Farmer's Pet, Gary Carter's mount, and the best back to the rest, probably 10 Teddy's Play. I spoke to Christopher Wright, the part owner, the chairman of Chrysalis, and they helped to bring the horse down this morning from 16-1 to 10-1. Clearly connections, fancy, Teddy's Play each way. That's now a 12-1 chance, but Daru, hand favourite, 6 Canvas, 8 bar.
Tell you what's an interesting point as the runners go into the stalls here. Watch out for Pat Edry on Canvas, because if he wins the race, will he be allowed into the winner's enclosure? The reason I say that is because this particular commissionaire at the entrance to the winner's enclosure, when Pat walked in his very expensive suit this morning, the guy said, "Sorry, you can't come in without your pass." And there he is there, right in the middle. He says, "But I'm Pat Edry, champion jockey." He said, "I don't care who you are, son. You're not coming in here without a pass." Eventually, he made his presence felt and was allowed in, much to the chagrin of the other jockeys who are watching from the jockey's room. So there it is. Even if you're the greatest jockey in Britain and the champion jockey, you can't get in without a pass.
Well, John Franklin will be very interested to hear that, because he's never had a badge for any racecourse in his life.
No, and to be fair, Pat did get in. He was really nice to the guy and walked straight on in.
Well, it'll be a really good gallop here, John, because apart from Farmer's Pet, I think Teddy's Play will help force it. Suez Canal chases the leaders. There'll be no hanging around.
Yeah, there'll be a few. Kadari, she's won over 2 miles as well. I think if I had 2 bets, I'd go for Canvas and probably go for Teddy's Play as well. Let's have a last look. Daru remaining favourite at 5-1. Canvas 6 is 3 Wales, 8 Farmer's Pet, 9. Let's join Graham.
Steve McEwen nearest to us, the colour change and a jockey change, number 13, Take by Storm, now racing orange with the black sleeves and ridden by Steve McEwen. So they go through the first quarter mile, and Suez Canal is putting the pace to the race. Take by Storm comes through on the inside, and these two have it by about a length to Spiking Hard, and then Labilio running the rail in about 5 spot is Green Lane in pale colours. Farmer's Pet, normally a front runner, can't get to the front yet. Teddy's Play behind that. And then behind these comes Canvas, followed by both Kadari and Alkarnak, both very similar colours, those two. And Flight Lieutenant is the one that's trailing at distance for the field by about 3 lengths as they continue to race away down the far side. Darrow at this stage is towards the back on the outside, that's the grey. But they still continue their journey past the 1.25 mile pole, and it's Suez Canal applying the pace to the race, with up on the outside Farmer's Pet coming with Labilio. Then running the rail is Spike and R position 4. Teddy's Play is in 5, followed through by Take by Storm the rail, and then Green Lane. They make this turn down past the 9 marker down to the mile pole, and it's Suez Canal the rail, Farmer's Pet the outside, these 1 and 2, followed by Spike and R the rail, Labilio, and then Teddy's Play in the yellow and blue colours, followed through by both Kadari and Alkarnak, the red cap Alkarnak. White cap mid-division is Canvas, the grey horse mid-division is Daru. On the outside of that one is Miss Pinup, and those are followed by Faugeron, 3 Wells, and the back marker Flight Lieutenant as they make the turn down past the 6th pole. And it's still Suez Canal leading by about a half, the Farmer's Pet in 2nd, Spike and R the rail 3rd, Teddy's Play on the outside racing 4, then Take by Storm is 5 and close enough if good enough, followed by Canvas, who's on the outside of Labilio, and Daru is tracking Canvas. Running the rail mid-division is Alkarnak with a red cap, followed through by Faugeron. Green Lane behind that. Miss Pinup on the outside of the pack. Flight Lieutenant is getting closer. They're heading for home. Come down to the 4, and it's Suez Canal pressed on the outside by Farmer's Pet, but going best of all the leading three at this stage. Teddy's Play in the blue and yellow, Spikenard, white cap Campus with a run, red cap Alcarnac starts to pick up, the grey horse Daru with a run. 2 lengths behind that is Green Lane. They've got 2.5 to go. And it's Teddy's Play going for home. Alcarnac, the red cap, white cap Canvas, grey horse Daru. And these have it between them now. Farmer's Pet gives way as they race down to 12.5 to go. And it's Alcarnac, but Daru quickens the tempo. On the outside, it's between these two now. And it's Daru that strides on the Steve Cawthon inside the final furlong. And it's Steve Cawthon and Daru by about a half by 1. To Alcarnac in second, off the pace. 3 Wells in place, that's the line. It's Daru who takes it comfortably, hands and heels by a length. To Alcarnac in second, and then 3 Wells, followed by Teddy's Play. A big gap to Flight Lieutenant, and then Farmer's Pet, followed by Kadari, and Spikenard to take by Storm, and that was followed by Canvas. Then came Miss Pin-Up and Suez Canal, who dropped away but beat Green Lane, Faucheron, Labilio. That are two particularly disappointing, I think. And so the result then of this race call Melrose handicap, it's a win for number 9 Daru in the first colours of Sheikh Mohammed. This one traded Newmarket by John Gosden and ridden by Steve Cawthon, off the track for some time but not in the least bit perturbed. Good smooth performance on Daru. Steve's 69th winner of the season. Second horse home Alcarnac, Frankie Dettori. Third horse home 3 Wells, John Reed, from a long way off the pace on the outside there in the blue and green. That's 3 Wells. Kadari tries to come with a run, but up front it's Teddy's Play in the yellow and blue. And now at this stage, the race developing between Alcarnac, the red cap, and the starred cap of Daru. And gentlemen, as they pass the two, all to play for.
Well, they went a good gallop to begin with, and then I just felt they eased up slightly before they turned into the straight, and then they've quickened up. And Daru, the grey there with the blinkers, responding all the time to Steve's pushing, kept niggling away. I don't think he gives him an awful lot of help, Daru. And Alcarnac stays on. You can just see him twitching his ears slightly, pricking his ears. I think there's a little bit left in the locker there. And no need to give this horse a slap down the shoulder today. He's run as straight as a die. First winner back for Steve since his suspension.
Actually, John, you said before, just for viewers watching at home, that's quite a pronounced ear-pricking routine he's just gone through. There's probably a fair bit left in him.
Yes, it's usually a good sign. It's sometimes it's not easy to sort out whether a horse is won easily or not, but certainly when they can afford to prick their ears and have a little bit of a look round, there's a little bit left in there. And obviously a little bit of a character.
One thing's for sure, the jockey couldn't afford to prick his ears. He's no time to do anything other than push him out firmly. Well, Mac said he was a clear favourite. Did they lump on, Mac?
Betting was quite light, Jimbo, but they certainly did back it. They did touch 7 to 1 here on the course, 7 to 1 in the offices. Daru returned the well-backed 5 to 1 favourite. The second Alcarnac went off at 14 to 1. The third 3 Wells was the 8 to 1 third favourite. And some bookmakers do pay 4 places, 15-runner handicap, and those on each way Teddy's Play will be rewarded by them at 12 to 1. Good for those bookies giving their punters a break in these 15-runner handicaps. But that Daru, only the 8th favourite in 37 runnings to win this, and just the 3rd since Pot Luck in 74. Ivory Fields in 87, and Ballinger 13 years ago were the other favourites to win it. The first 2 have gone in here at the Davesmire. Carpet Woodchat, 5 to 1 Daru. The punters are flying.
First, number 9, Daru, 5 to 1 favourite. Second, number 6, Alcarnac at 14 to 1. And third, number 2, 3 Wells, 8 to 1. The tote paid £4.60 to win. The place is £2.10, £6.10 and £3 exactly. And the dual forecast came to £141 exactly. 15 rams.
Daru wins there. Cawthon gets himself teed up for the Juddmonte International, where of course he rides Al Nazar Al Washiq. And just getting the winning time for this race, 2:57.6, so that's just a second slower than the standard. Again, a very respectable time. They didn't go that fast as they had once straightened up. And the ground here in perfect shape for the big one, the Juddmonte International. And that features the Derby winner, Dr. Devious, and the 2,000 guineas winner, Rodrigo de Triano. After the break, the answer to this riddle. When was the last time the Derby winner and the 2,000 guineas winner met on a race course? When and where? In a couple of minutes.
Your £15 gift could help the NSPCC save a child's life. Please call 0800 444 230. That's 0800 444 230. We're waiting for your call now. Thank you.
Who cares about your photographs as much as you do? And who cares that you might need them on the hour? Who cares?
For well over a century, the finest sewing machines have carried the name Singer. But it hasn't always been a name you could carry. Introducing the Singer Handy Stitch. It's genuine Singer quality and the most convenient sewing machine ever. Just thread it in seconds, and away you go. Handy Stitch is perfect for sewing seams. The durable chain stitch assures a clean, secure job every time. Hem come loose? Just reach for your Handy Stitch, and it's as good as new. Even if you've never used a sewing machine, you can get the job done quickly and easily with Handy Stitch. There's no bobbin to wind, fuss with, or lose. This genuine Singer is so sturdy it can tackle tough jobs like this. Yet it's so simple and safe, make on-the-spot repairs without even removing the garment. Use it for beautiful decorative touches like this. Straight stitches, curved stitches, anything's a snap with Handy Stitch. It has hundreds of creative and practical uses. The Singer Handy Stitch comes complete with 5 mini spools of thread. But look, attach this extension spindle and you can use standard spools in any color you choose. It's so versatile you can sew draperies while they're still hanging. Handy Stitch goes anywhere you go. Take it to the office, your college dormitory, or away on vacation. It's always there when you need it. Complete with battery pack, 5 mini spools of thread, and extra needle and convenient threaders. The Singer Handy Stitch. It's a genuine Singer.
For the amazing low price of £29.95. Here's how to order. Call 0726 68000. That's 0726 68000. Or make your cheque payable to Singer Handy Stitch and send it to Handy Stitch, Admail 54, Plymouth, PL12YD. A mains adapter for the Singer Handy Stitch is now also available. Call 0726 68000 for details. If lines are busy, call later, but do call.
This evening, Arthur's nephew George is coming round for dinner. Of course, Arthur's is on the menu, with its delicious meat in jelly and no added cereal. But even though George may have the same taste in food, he certainly doesn't have the same taste in music. Arthur's. No other cat food is worthy of the name.
Granny, Grandad, Auntie, Anna, Job, Ben, Mum, Dad. No, Dad probably won't want one.
Kellogg's variety. With 8 Kellogg's favorites, there's something for everyone.
Welcome to the presentation for the race call Melrose Handicap, and this competitive, valuable handicap has been sponsored for the 5th year by Race Call, the leading telephone information service, and the York Race Committee is very grateful to Race Call for their continued support of the racing programme here on the Nailsmire. And we congratulate the connections of the winning horse, the grey colt, Daru, and it's my pleasure to invite Mrs. Malcolm Jessup, wife of the Managing Director of Telephone Information Services Limited, to present the trophy to Mr. Anthony Stroud. The racing manager for the winning owner is Highness Sheikh Mohammed. Many congratulations.
Wade in, wade in.
And thank you, Mrs. Jessup, for making the presentation. Will you kindly accept a presentation box of chocolates courtesy of the York Race Committee? Well, the Judmonte International distinguished by the presence of the 2,000 guineas winner Rodrigo de Triano and the ever-ready Derby winner Dr. Devious. And the last time the winners of the 2,000 guineas and the Derby met after winning their classics was 1986. Now, Dancing Brave won the 2,000 guineas for Guy Harwood, desperately unluckily beaten by Michael Stout Sharastani in the Derby, and they met twice after that in the King George, where Dancing Brave won and Sharastani was fourth, so the decider came in an epic Arc de Triomphe of 1986, and any doubts as to who was truly the superior were extinguished forever.
Furlong and a half to go, but it's Shadari now who strikes the front. Carrara with a noseband, bearing on the very wide outside with a white face Sharastani. But here comes Dancing Brave, firing down the centre of the track. But it's Dancing Brave now who's come to break up the running. Dancing Brave is going to go on. Dancing Brave is going to win at the post. Dancing Brave from bearing Sharastani at Critique.
The brilliant, dazzling Brave leaving Sharastani for dead. And the only other time since the war that the 2,000 guineas winner and the Derby winner have met was 1953, when the Derby winner Pinzer won the King George. Nerulla had won the 2,000 guineas, was only 11th. It's a bit of history here on the Knavesmire, but the book is not making either of them favourite. Of course, the early show I've seen put out by the tic-tacs on the boards is Risk. 5-4 against Kuyonga with 6-1 All at Sea and Al Nasser Al Washik. That's the very early show, but won't it be amazing if either the classic winners, Rodrigo or Dr. Devious, win, and you'll be saying 7 or 8-1, and we've knocked back the classic winner?
Well, if Kuyonga is to win the International, she'll become the 5th filly to win this great race since it was inaugurated in 1972. And 20 years ago today, who could forget the very first running when the Derby winner, Roberto, unconsidered 12-1 shot, beat the hitherto unbeaten Brigadier Gerard in one of the racing shocks of all time. Behind me, we've got Michael Corns, and here comes Kuyonga, just about to be saddled up and about to run me over. Kuyonga going in to get saddled up. So while she gets saddled up, before we see her in the parade ring, let's check out the list of honour of the fillies who've won the International. Well, that great race mare Dahlia was a dual winner of the race back in 74 and 75, but we had to wait 9 years before the next filly to win. That was Cormorant Wood. She was followed by Triptyque and In the Groove. So let's just remind ourselves of how they made it ladies first.
Raft in the lead from Sadler's Wells, Pat Edery in the drive position. Cormorant Wood comes out of the pack. Ptolomeo improves next to the rails. 2 out, and Raft has it. Raft from Sadler's Wells and Cormorant Wood. Then behind these two, Singer trying to get him a run. And not much daylight, a furlong and a half to go. And 3 in line as Sadler's Wells next to the rails. Cormorant Wood on the outside. And Cormorant Wood, who goes on, quickens inside the final furlong. Cormorant Wood coming away from Sadler's Wells, and Ptolomeo staying on very well indeed. Cormorant Wood by 2, 3, 4 lengths as she goes up towards the line. Well clear. Cormorant Wood is the winner. Cormorant Wood, Ptolomeo, Chief Singer stayed on bravely to be in a photo for 3rd with Sadler's Wells. Then Raft and Walcott, an optimistic lap. Ascot Knight most welcome on the far side. Motley in behind these. Triptyque, the favourite, travelling there very smoothly indeed. They got 2 to race. And it's Ascot Knight and Motley tracked by Triptyque. Most welcome is out on his own on towards the right. Then behind these comes to Harry Lewis, just over a furlong to go. And it's Triptyque now in the pale blue who throws down the challenge to Ascot Knight. And Triptyque quickens up inside the final furlong. And Triptyque goes on by 2 by 3 to Ascot Knight. It's going to be close to 3rd. But Triptyque wins it. What an incredible mare. Triptyque, Ascot Knight to Harry Lewis. Triptyque, Ascot Knight second to Harry Lewis 3rd. As they race down past the 2, and here on the wide outside comes In the Groove in the grey and red. They've got a furlong and a half to go, and from last to 3rd with Steve Cawthon on In the Groove has got first one on them. Elmar Moore was boxed in, now finds the room. Batsu starts the sprint, but In the Groove and Steve Cawthon surely have this. Elmar Moore next to the rails rallying. Batsu gets a place at best, but it's In the Groove. In the Groove wins the Judmonte from Elmar Moore close to 3rd. Batsu and Terry Mon then behind these Ch4.
Still walking around, waiting for the saddle to be placed on him is the dual Guineas winner. That is Rodrigo de Triano, and I must say he does look exceptionally well. Peter Chapelheim was telling me before racing that he's done really well over the past few weeks. Oh, there goes Seattle Rhyme. Good 2-year-old last year, trying to get back onto the winning way. He's going in, but Rodrigo de Triano does look good, and quite a crowd down here as the horses get saddled for this big race, and quite an air of anticipation. Incidentally, there was quite a wonder about which jockey was riding All at Sea here, because the number board had Paul Edery And, of course, everybody believes it's Pat Eddery, who's retained by Khalid Abdullah, who, of course, his firm Juddmonte sponsor the race. We'll confirm that for you shortly.
£160,000 in winning first prize money, plus this specially commissioned bronze by Philip Blacker. Very fine natural hunt jockey and even finer sculptor, this leading equine sculptor of his day now. He's made himself into, Philip, and this beautiful couple of foals sculpted in bronze as a splendid keepsake for those who win the Juddmonte International. 1 mile, 2 furlongs and 85 yards to be exact. Group 1 winners, classic winners aplenty. A real cast of stars. And here, Kuyonga with the saddle on, who goes out to do battle, and it'll be no easy battle. Whichever way you look at this, it's going to be a very tough one. Just looking again at that Eclipse Stakes, we saw how strongly Zoman finished. Remember Alan Munro's confidence that he'd run a very big race at a big price too. A race to savour this, the 1992 Juddmonte International. The runners and riders, 12 of them, listed by Graham Goode.
And they have won 56 races and over £3,980,000 in win and place prize money. Terrific race. Number 1 is Terrimon, ridden by Michael Roberts. 2, Zoman, Alan Munro. 3, Gussie Marlowe, Willie Carson. And number 4, Kuyonga at the mount of Warren O'Connor. Number 5, Ruby Tiger, Richard Quinn. 6, Al Nasser Al Washik, Steve Cawthon. Number 7, the rank outsider, Bob Zao, John Carroll. And number 8, Dr. Devious, John Reed. Number 9 is Massad, Frankie Dettori. 10, Rodrigo de Triano, Lester Piggott. 11, Seattle Rhyme, Cash Asmussen. And we confirm number 12, All at Sea, by Pat Eddery.
Kuyonga, the 13-to-8 favourite from 6 to 4, All at Sea on 6 to 1, along with Dr. Devious from 7. Al Nasser Al Washik, a 7 to 1 chance, together with Rodrigo de Triano. Ruby Tiger, 8 to 1, Seattle Rhyme 16s, Nassad on 20s, along with Terrimon and Zoman, Gussie Marlowe 50s, and Balzer, the outsider, 200 to 1.
And amongst the fascinating runners here, another sight of Dr. Devious, who's been off the track since running second to St. Jovite. There he is. We last saw him in Ireland, second to St. Jovite. He's the most admirable of racehorses. He's never run a bad race in his life so far. In 10 runs, he's won 5, finished second 4 times. The unplaced run, remember, was finishing strongly with his throat clogged with dirt in the Kentucky Derby. Within a month, he was at the real thing at Epsom with today's rival, Rodrigo de Triano and Al Nasser Al Washik behind him, and history knows what happened.
But it's twisted turn, pressed by Dr. Devious in the pale colours on the outside. Then St. Jovite and Mutaram, and Al Nasser Al Washik and Silver Wisp is continuing to eat up ground as Dr. Devious goes for home. But over a furlong to go. It's Dr. Devious in the lead. St. Jovite, Silver Wisp pressing second and third. But it's Dr. Devious in the lead as they race up towards the line. Dr. Devious clear by 3, Silver Wisp and St. Jovite having their battle for places. But the derby goes to Dr. Devious.
Well, this horse, Rodrigo, didn't seem to act on the track or stay the trip in the Derby, but he should be much better suited by the shorter trip today. And remember, he is a dual classic winner this season. Who could forget that fantastic win at Newmarket back in May when 56-year-old Lester Piggott, wearing the famous green and blue silks of owner Robert Sangster, brought Rodrigo de Triano through to win and provides second-season trainer Peter Chappell-Hyam with his first classic success. That was a great day at Newmarket, but he didn't have to wait long for his second success, because 2 weeks later, Lester and Rodrigo did it again in the Irish 2000 at the Curragh.
They're racing towards the 2 furlong pole now, and it's Lucky Lindy the leader from Ezud, and then comes Portico and Brief Truce. Rodrigo de Triano looking for room. Irish Memories in behind them. They race towards the final furlong. Lucky Lindy and Ezud. Rodrigo de Triano charging through on the inside now. Gets the gap as they come to the furlong pole, and it's Rodrigo de Triano who quickens to the lead on the far side from Ezud. Brief Truce, Lucky Lindy inside the final furlong. Rodrigo de Triano 2 in front. Ezud is coming after him, but racing up the line. Rodrigo de Triano, it's Leicester's 16th Irish Classic.
And never discount Ruby Tiger. She's won almost £500,000, been successful in 5 different countries. She beat All at Sea and Gussie Marlowe last time out of Goodwood. Before that, show just how tough she is, even in defeat in Ireland.
But Ruby Tiger goes for home now, chased by Market Booster in second, Gussie Marlowe in third, and Canada coming there on the outside as they race to the furlong pole. It's Ruby Tiger being attacked by Market Booster now, with in third place Canada, and into the final furlong Ruby Tiger, Market Booster, and Market Booster takes it up inside the last 150 yards. Market Booster wins it for Moyse Stud. Second place is Ruby Tiger.
But what about this filly, All at Sea, who carries the colours of Prince Khalid Abdullah, whose firm Juddmonte sponsors the race? She's only been beaten by 2 horses in her life. One was by Ruby Tiger in the Nassau at Goodwood, and before that she had to play second fiddle to the dual classic winner User Friendly in the Oaks at Epsom.
It's User Friendly in the lead. User Friendly pressed hard on the outside by All at Sea, and they're both battling bravely. User Friendly, George Duffield looking for his very first classic win. All at Sea inside the final furlong. She isn't going to pick back User Friendly, and User Friendly snapping at us from today, and User Friendly is the winner. All at Sea is second.
Kuyonga, the 7-4 favourite now. All at Sea, 11-2 from 6s. And Dr. Devious, a 6-1 chance. Al Nasser Al Washik on 7s, together with Rodrigo de Triano. Ruby Tiger at 8-1. Seattle Rhyme, 16-1. Zeman on 20s. Nassad is 25-1 from 20-1. And Terimon is 33s from 20s. Gussie Marlowe, 50-1. And the extreme outsider is Bobzeo, 200-1.
Well, it's no surprise to see Kuyonga on the drift. Not that there's anything wrong with her, she looks marvellous, but she was priced up at a ridiculously short odds by the 3 leading layers at the beginning of the week. Admittedly, she's the standard they've all got to beat, but when you think there are classic winners in this field, to price her up initially at 11-10, it's no surprise to see that on the course, people are backing other horses each way.
Really strongly made filly though, Kuyonga. Doesn't look any the worse for exertion. She's had to travel for most of her races this year and been given some wonderful rides by young Warren O'Connor, taking her races particularly well. All at Sea just getting a little bit warm.
Just forming themselves into an order. They'll exit the paddock then in race card order. There's a parade for this race. Kuyonga, as John said, looks really well. There's Al Nazar Al Washik. Not really the most imposing looking of animals. He's a little bit light and doesn't carry a lot of condition. There's no doubt he's a very effective horse, and he's a big chance here if he's at his best. But he's a horse, doesn't seem to be that easy to predict as to which way or what sort of performance he'll turn in.
Certainly looks better today than I've seen him all year, and it's a horse who's improving. Showed his liking for this course, of course, winning the Dante decisively from Great Palm. But really on that running, we can have a look at this now. Judge for yourselves how much he's got left in the locker, beating the big grey of Paul Coles in second, because they ran more or less to the pound in the Derby after this run-in, and there were excuses that maybe the ground was a little bit on the soft side. He's won nicely enough there. And,
lovely action horse.
He's a nice action horse. He's had a rest since the Derby, and there's no doubt that he's come back looking better. You'd never pick him out in the paddock. He's never ever going to win the best turned out, but they don't pay out on the best turned out. Well, they do, but not very much. So
Seattle Rhyme, distinctive white blaze. I say distinctive, I was going to say that makes it easy for you to pick out, but there are 3 others with white blazes here. But Seattle Rhyme also got 2 white hind socks. Cassius Musen rides this one this afternoon, and Cash knows the horse well, having partnered him to a very impressive performance in the Racing Post Trophy last year. The Seattle Rhyme's one performance this season on this track back in early part of the summer suggests he's a lot to find to win here. A little bit on edge. This race represents 4 generations, from 6-year-olds down to 3-year-olds. There's the 6-year-old Terriman, who, if you're watching the video clip that Bruff's just shown you 10 minutes ago, that he's got greyer as he's got older, just like our director.
He's kept his hair though, which is more than you could say for Mr. Garden, but he's certainly also retained his enthusiasm, Terriman. And in the Eclipse, Michael Roberts came right wide round the outside, came up the stand side, and the ground proved to be a little bit softer there. But let's have a look at him winning last year. Really brilliant tactical ride from Michael Roberts.
And it's Quest for Fame on the outside of Terryman. They're 3 clear who stagecraft. The 2 back to top of Nora, Forget Environment Friend. And McAdam are just over a furlong to go. And it's Terryman in the lead with Quest for Fame on the outside. All of a sudden Stagecraft is just going up and down in the same spot, third at best. And it's Terryman and Michael Roberts who took the initiative early on. And it's Terryman in the lead. And Terryman wins it. Quest for Fame is second.
There's Dr. Devious. Not much confidence behind him in the build-up to the race, although there is money for him on the track today. But you have to say the way he won the Derby, which was the style of a really good workman-like horse. Indeed, it takes, of course, a good horse to win the Derby. He may not be a super horse, but he must have a big say in this too.
So they come out onto the track for this Juddmonte International, leading about Terryman, last year's winner. Zoman, would he be better with more give? Alan Munro, the dark green jacket. Gussie Marlowe, Group 2 winner in the yellow cap, Willie Carson. Kuyonga, this world traveller, a winner of 9 of 15 races. Another with more marks in the passport than me, Ruby Tiger. Yellow colour, Steve Corson, Al Nasser Al Washik. The rank outsider, Bob Zayo, yellow sleeve jacket. The Derby winner, Dr. Devious, 6-1, terrific each way for me, John Reed. Hoops, Massard, a personal best if he wins. Lester and Rodrigo de Triano. Seattle Rhyme with that distinctive white place. Cash Asmussen on an away day. And then All at Sea, beaten in the last 2 races, but sponsor-owned in Padedry Rhyme.
There's All at Sea, an imposing filly. She comes here after a defeat at Goodwood, where she was widely regarded as a good thing. Some people were surprised that Ruby Tiger beat her. They were making excuses for All at Sea. But Ruby Tiger's a darn good filly, and at those weights, she was perfectly entitled to beat her.
I know that Paul Cole and Philip Blacker thought that Ruby Tiger had blown up in her first 2 races this year, and Richard Quinn rode a smashing race on her at Goodwood, got first run going down into the dip, and even allowing for that, I still thought that the best filly won on the day, and I know that Henry Cecil thought that maybe the ground's a little bit fast for All at Sea, but I think that Ruby Tiger would be equally suited by the better ground this afternoon.
This is Yorkshire sport at its finest. The fine weather's brought packed stands. You can see how many people have also come down to the rails to see the horses, perhaps more so than most other tracks you go to. Maybe with the exception of jumping at obviously the big festival meetings. When you get a parade, quite often the idea is that they go right down to as far as the silver rings, so the people that have paid less money can see the horses. And very often the people don't bother to come and see them. Well, here on a fine afternoon, everybody's craning to get a view of the biggest field ever gathered for the International, with some of the finest jockeys in Europe, some of the oldest, some of the youngest, but mainly the majority of the best.
And if they're not going to come down to look at this race, they're not going to go to look at any. It really is a tremendous lineup. And race enthusiasts in the north, by and large, they like to get a close look of the horses. Rodrigo de Triano, but really well in his coat.
It's worrying though, John, isn't it? Because he's getting on edge. Peter Chappell-Hyam's come to join in, and the worry is stamina. Rodrigo isn't an easy ride. A lot of people criticise Leicester in the Derby, but he's a horse, if you watch him closely, he leans on the bridle early on, and it's very difficult to get him to drop the bit. If over the longer distances they don't go that bit faster to help him relax, well then he isn't going to relax and get home.
No, and certainly in the Derby he had every opportunity there to settle, because they jump off and go uphill, and if you can't get one to settle, then you're going to be struggling on most other courses. But he's a dual classic winner, and he's got an obvious chance.
Well, they call it the Knavesmire because it was taken off poor people, the track that is, the ground, and basically it's marshy ground, but it's been converted into a fine surface, and you can see they're acting really well as they move to post, led by Terryman. Zoman, in fact, looking at the crowd, propping, not really stretching for Alan Munro. If you were judging him on the way he went there, you wouldn't be backing him. There's Kuyonga, the noseband, Warren O'Connor riding her. Ruby Tiger, she's got a cross noseband. She's a little bit keen, just helps to keep the bit in her mouth. And you've got Bob Zao and then Dr. Devious. In the background, coming towards us now, white face, powerful action of Massad, Frankie Dettori. And then you can see Lester, he's having no trouble going down. Again, his horse is quite keen. Pat Edery on All at Sea. He'll be quite happy here. Still, he hasn't really jumped into her bridle. She's just lobbing. And Cassius Musen made sure he went out of order there at the parade. He wants to go last, and you can see why, John.
Bloke takes a really good hold, Seattle Rhyme, and quite fresh that he's only just had the one run this year, had a long layoff after winning the Racing Post trophy. Got himself plenty warm enough. Just watching All at Sea canter down on my left, second last to go down, and she'll be enjoying a little bit more cut in the ground this afternoon.
It's a very well balanced horse, that. Very easy action, strokes the ground, and he'll be up joining that group. He's a little way behind them at the moment, in a couple of minutes. Here's JT.
Younger, the 7-4 favourite, All at Sea, 9-2. Dr. Devious, 7-1, together with Al Nasser Al Rashid. Rodrigo de Triano is 8. Ruby Tiger, 9-1. Seattle Rhyme, 16s, along with Massad. Zerman, 20s. Telemon, 33s. Casimalo, 100-1. And Bob Zao, 200-1.
Well, I don't think they're coming down because it's milking time, John. They pop in to see us at every meeting.
I was going to say they've been there from the start of the season. Be very surprised if they're here this time next year. Expect they'll be under some pastry somewhere.
John, do they upset the horses?
Sometimes they do if they come galloping. If they come galloping across, and
or are we just talking a load of bullocks?
Well, there's no... I've got the director saying in my ear it wouldn't be for the first time.
Yeah, he's expert on that. And once again, you see Rodrigo through the preliminaries at the stage when the jockey wants the horse relaxing. He's just fretting. He's a little bit on edge, which is worrying if you've backed him for the reasons we made earlier. But anyway, Derek talked to Peter Chapel-Hyam before racing. He said that he'd heard Rodrigo been working well. What was the latest news?
He's in very good form. He is working very well, and he's put on. You'll see he's muscled up a lot more since the Guineas. He's done really well for his break, and he'll run a big race here today.
What about the trip though? Stepping up in distance.
I think he will get. I think he'll get the trip. It's obviously. It could be a doubt, but I do think he will get the trip, especially now we've had a nice couple of drying days. That helps the cause.
No stamina doubts about Dr. Devious, but how fit is he? You said last week he still needed a couple of gallops.
He worked very well on Sunday. Though I wasn't here, I've spoken to everyone at home. But he did work very well on Sunday. We just gave him a little pipe opener, and he's just about there.
Would he be fit enough?
Oh yeah. He's good enough, as well as fit enough.
And if I asked you to compare the two today?
Good question. I just have to stop running two in one race, I think. Today, I swing Rodrigo away. Today.
He's getting cagier the more experience he gets, isn't he?
$1 million question. With his Massad, he's got to improve significantly to take a hand in the and finish of this race. But when we watched him win at Newmarket last time out in what was a slowly run race, he really did quicken up impressively, and it's just open to opinion whether he's going to improve enough to take part in the finish.
Well, Mac, we were discussing the subject of bullocks earlier on. You're about the same size as those we just had a look at.
You're certainly a load of bullocks yourself, Jimbo. That Massad was a 28-1 chance in the offices, open 25-1 here on the track, now 16-1. It's the best backed outsider in the race. But they're going 15-8 now against Kuyonga, who you remember defied bad statistics to win the Coral Eclipse at Sandown. Well, she'll have to defy them again, because all 10 horses first past the post in the Coral Eclipse to come on and run in the Judgmont International have all been beaten. So the stats very bad for Kuyonga like that. Although 7 favourites and 20 runnings have won it, there are plenty of outsiders have gone in as well. It's in 5-1 bar all at sea. That's proving the best backed horse in the race now from 6-1. 5 all at sea. 7 bar bringing Dr. Devious and a well-backed Al Nasser Al Rashik. You can get 15-2 and 8-1 in places now. 8-1. Rodrigo de Triano with Lester Piggott, who's won it 5 times. And it's the third 2,000 Guineas winner to run in the race. Wallow won it in 76, but Brigadier Gerard was beaten in 72. It's then 16-1 bar and 8 and 9 to 1 against Ruby Tiger. 16, as I said, against Massad and Seattle Rhyme, and 20 and 25 against the rest. And it's still 15-8 Kuyonga. Bookmakers, the first 2 favourites have gone in. They're greedy. They want to get Kuyonga. 15-8.
Ruby Tiger, been an amazing servant to Philip Blacker and fit in to win his own trophy here. It's unusual for her. This will be her second run in England. She spent most of her racing time abroad, and she's won in 5 different countries, and she's a really tough filly to get past once she gets her head in front. Never does less than her best.
It's actually an incredible piece of training by Paul Cole to get her back to the level of form she's shown this season, because although it was, they say, only a minor crack of the knee, it stopped her racing from last August for the rest of the season, and any knee injury is very serious in a horse.
Yeah, she was out. She's only the second filly to win 2 Nassau Stakes, and she's, as I said, is incredibly enthusiastic. Richard Quinn rides her and knows her inside out, and those just went to go for home on her. Did particularly well to win over in Woodbine in Toronto, and about 2 years ago conditions over there got really soft, and I know that they thought that she wouldn't handle it. Anyway, she got her head down, buckled down to it, and won yet again. Paul Cole's other runners, Oman, looked particularly well, this horse, and you would have heard Alan Munro saying that he probably left the horse plenty to do in the Coral Eclipse. This is a horse who likes to race up there with the pace, and wasn't really unlucky to get beaten over in Ireland prior to that by Opera House, but really tough, had a tremendous race. It was a pity that either horse had to lose on that occasion.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the pace is here. Alan said, or has almost certainly indicated, that Zoman might be up there early on, but there's no absolutely guaranteed front runner unless Al Nazar Al Washik is ridden the way he was when he won the Dante here back in the spring. Otherwise, you'd expect to see Dr. Devious handy, All at Sea reasonably handy. Terryman's made the running last year in what was tactics that were more or less forced on Michael Roberts. He took up the gantlet straight away, but usually the horse is held up.
Might just try and surprise him again this afternoon.
Well, there's plenty of people come down to see the loading up procedures. They're watching Zoman, and he's being a little reluctant, but then he often is. He can take a deal of persuading. And Kuyonga still on the drift. 5-1 All at Sea, 7-1 Al Nazar Al Washik, 15-2 Dr. Devious. And if you're worrying about Zoman, don't worry too much. I've seen him be just as mulish as this and then run really well. And nearly 10 minutes late. A little difficult to know why. The preliminaries seem to go smoothly enough.
Bottle, 2-1 now. They're shouting against Kuyonga. Punter's not going in for her. 5 against All at Sea. You can then get 7-1 Al Nasser Al Rashid, 15-2 Dr. Devious, and 8-1 Rodrigo de Triano and Ruby Tiger. A drifting, ominous favourite now. The stats are against Kuyonga. So are the bookmakers and the punters as well.
Well, Mac didn't add, which is unlike him, that no Eclipse winner's gone on to win the race in the same year. But, of course, Kuyonga hasn't read the stats. Oh, I don't think she has, anyway.
She'll be worth an awful lot more than she is if she has, that's for certain. Almost going in, Zoman. It's harder to actually get them in when they're halfway in stop. You've got nothing to pull on. Anyway, they're almost all in, Graham. What's your fancy?
Well, I go for Dr. Devious for being the value price in the race, so the Kuyonga will obviously be a tough nut to crack. There's All at Sea going in, narrowly beaten in her last 2 races over back over today's trip of a mile and a quarter, 85 yards, but they break away for the Judgmont International, and through the first furlong, Ruby Tiger, Massad racing fast, Zoman up with the pace, Al Nasser Al Washik runs the rail, Terrimon's in there. Seattle Rhyme is tucked off the pace, and so too is Rodrigo de Triano, and Koyonga normally held up in the last three. Quite closely grouped, the pace strong as they go to the first furlong so, and it's Al Nasser Al Washik that gains the day, in the yellow jacket to rail. Terrimon the grey on the outside, Zoman, followed through by Bob Zayo, Dr. Devious position 5, Ruby Tiger out wide in 6, all at sea the rail, 7, Massad in 8, a break of a length and a half then to the others, headed by Gussie Marlowe. Kuyonga's on the outside, Seattle Rhyme, and Leicester's put Rodrigo to sleep in the back of the field. They've passed the 7 pole, and it's Al Nasser Al Washik by a length now. 2 in second place, Terriman, Bob Zayo the rail, Zerman out wide, a line of 3 for second place, then the Devious, Dr. Devious is in 5, they've passed the 6 furlong marker, and then Ruby Tiger out wide and all at sea and Massad, and then Kuyonga and Seattle Rhyme and Gussie Marlowe, and Leicester on Rodrigo is the trailer as they come down past the 5 pole, and it's Al Nasser Al Washik, Steve Corfin out in front, Zoman just being niggled along, Bob Zayo rails well, Dr. Devious on the outside of Terriman, Kuyonga's having to pull wide for room and wide for a run, and they're just leaving her a bit flat-footed as Al Nasser Al Washik on the bridle, clear by 2. Here comes All at Sea with a wet sail. Dr. Devious on the outside, off the pace, and Seattle Rhyme is getting cheekily nearer. They leave the 3 behind them. Al Nasser Al Washik, All at Sea, Dr. Devious, Seattle Rhyme back on song. Here comes Rodrigo de Triano, the blue sleeve jacket with a run. Then past the 2, Al Nasser Al Washik, All at Sea. Rodrigo de Triano on the outside of Dr. Devious. Then Seattle Rhyme followed by Massad and Zoman. Then race down to the final furlong, and it's Rodrigo de Triano and Lester Piggott. Panettone All at Sea, the pink cap, but it's Rodrigo de Triano who lengthens and goes on. No stamina down clear, he's going to see the trip out all right. Rodrigo Triano, All at Sea fighting back, but Rodrigo de Triano holds it from All at Sea second, and then in third, photo third, Seattle Rhyme and Dr. Devious, followed by Massad, Zerman, Al Nasser Al Washik, Ruby Tiger, who was a bit disappointing, followed then by Gussie Marlowe and Terriman and Bob Zayo, and tailed off and virtually pulled up through the last furlong is the favourite Kuyonga. And so there is Kuyonga, who hardly got home at all, and just trotted up in the last, half a furlong or so. And so the result then, I'm sure there'll be a steward's inquiry to this race. Don't think certainly won't, in my judgment, concern the winner, but they might call a steward's inquiry determining the poor running of Kuyonga. That's all in the melting pot. Let's go for the result. It's a win for number 10, Rodrigo de Triano, in the colours of Robert Sangster. This one trained by Peter Chappell-Hyam and ridden by Lester Piggott, for whom he is the 24th winner of the season. And Rodrigo de Triano, American-bred, son of El Gran Senor, bred at the Swetton and Sturton. Well done to them. Second horse home, well, that's number 12, All at Sea. Second again under Pat Heddery in the colours of Carla de Della, trained at Newmarket by Henry Cecil. A close call for second place, for third place between Seattle Ryan and Dr. Devious.
The highs, the lows, no one knows them better in the game of racing than Lester Piggott, and here's one of his highs. A fine performance to husband this horse home, and if you go back tonight, those of you with a video, watch the first furlong of this race. The job was won and lost there because he gave Leicester a horrible time early on. He pulled hard. Eventually, John Franklin said to me, he's got him. And going into the closing stages, having got him settled, he could use his change of pace to good effect. Up front now, and All at Sea, Pat Heddery, pink cap comes to join Steve Corfin, yellow colours. Steve looks cooked against the rails. It's All at Sea, but as she hits the front, she's immediately almost in trouble and off the bridle. She's pressed by Rodrigo. She doesn't give in, but he's got something she hasn't, a sharper turn of foot.
Yeah, she's really given her all, and we saw a game of really performance to finish second in the Oaks. But Leicester's timing is absolutely immaculate to put this horse's head in front, and he's barely known that he's had a race, just as he did in the Irish Guineas. Really wonderful riding performance to watch. And I think probably one of the most pleased of the trainers will be David Ellsworth. Seattle Rhyme ran on really well. I think third place.
Well, the warmth of that reception underlines the degree of affection that he's held in racing circles. He's always been awarded a warm reception in the north. And the smile on the face that we used to say was a well-crept grave says it all these days. Leicester enjoys it as much as us. Here's Matt.
And Rodrigo de Triano is returned the 8-1 joint fourth favourite of 2. 8-1 against Rodrigo. All at Sea is second, a 5-1 chance. They've just called the third, Seattle Rhyme, sent off at 16-1, with the Derby winner Dr. Devious fourth, also at 8-1. And that Rodrigo de Triano, Lester Piggott's fifth win in the Judgmont International. He won it on Comanche Run in 85, Hawaiian Sound in 78, and Dahlia twice in 74 and 5. And for Robert Sangster, it's his third win in the race. He won it with Caerleon in 83 and a cert in 1982. And Rodrigo, the second 2,000 guineas winner to come on and win the International. Wallow won them both in 1976. A terrifically popular win with many punters, the smaller punters. They're Lester Piggott followers. Here comes the distances. Wins by a length and 3 lengths. The smaller punters, they're the ones that go and back Leicester. The bookmakers back it back and take the prize, but return 8-1 for Leicester's fifth international winner.
And thanks, of course, to Peter Chapelhyan. Those of you who ignored the doubts of at least one member of this commentary team and listened to him. Not for the first time this season, he's been spot on in his assessment. And his openness, John, in a game that you often get a blank response. I don't mean National Hunt racing, but in flat racing, where people are afraid to put their reputation or opinions on the line. It's nice to see.
Yeah, he's been every time, and I remember him early on in the season gave an interview to Time Inform, and everything that he said in that close-up came true. Predictions of where the horses were going to run, how they were going to run, really was very revealing, and he's done us some good turns on Channel 4 this year.
It was before when we were wrong.
Peter, you should give up training and become a tipster, because you were exactly spot on in the sense you said Donkey didn't run a great race, but Rodrigo was really spot on.
Well, he was. He's been working fantastic. He really has at home. And I honestly think probably this race will just about put him right.
You think he's got improvement in him from today?
Oh, there is, yeah, definitely improvement. Definitely.
And he's won this so smoothly. I mean, people were saying that a mile was going to be his maximum trip after he won the Guineas.
Yeah.
What do you think his best distance is?
I think it still is a mile. But he's an exceptional horse, and I've always said that, and you can't take that away from him. He's exceptional. And good horses win over most trips.
When you say he's going to improve, where's he going to be aimed at? Because
I haven't really spoken to Mr. Sangster yet, but I suppose you might go for the Newland or something like that.
And the Breeders' Cup at the end of the year?
That's a possibility, but I'm not too keen on going to Florida.
And a word about the pilot, because even by his standards, he determined to set him a task to get him settled.
Yeah, that was the plan, because we had a very bad draw of 12, which was the only thing I was worried about. And Leicester was worried when I arrived, and it's not like Leicester to get sweated up. And I said, look, all the fast horses are on the inside, let them go, and we'll just bide our time and come through, hopefully.
Because being drawn out wide.
Yeah, you either had to make one decision, go with him or drop in. And his way of racing is dropping in, so we dropped him in.
And take us through the other horse, Dr. Devious, because he's saying he was 2 gallops short, but he's run a
blind, isn't he? He doesn't know how to run a bad race. He's a fantastic horse. I just feel very sorry that he got beat. Finished fourth, here's no disgrace. And we'll go now straight to the Arc.
Straight to the Arc?
Yeah.
And he's going to be in shape for that?
Oh, he'll be in top shape for that.
Peter, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
And the full result in tape returns, the winner number 10, Rodrigo de Triano, returned at 8-1. Second, number 12, All at Sea at 5-1. And third, number 11, Seattle Rhyme, 16-1. Number 4, Kiongo was the 2-1 favourite. The tote dividends win 8.80, places 2.40, 1.60 and £2.80. The dual forecast came to £28.50 and 12 rand. And at Folkestone, the 250 was won by number 12, Curie Muir, 5-1. Second, number 2, Surrey Racing, 15-8 favourite. Third, number 9, Piggott Wonder, 20-1. And the fourth horse, number 7, Kissavos, at 9-1. The tote returns win 4.90. Places 1.60, 1.30, £6.80 and £1.70. The dual forecast going to £5.80, the computer straight forecast to £14.56, and the tri-cast to £164.66 and 16 rounds.
And these crowds have seen yet another historic milepost in the quite extraordinary career of Lester Piggott, because, and we're not going to mention his age, but even at this stage, there is no other jockey in Britain who has won 3 Group 1 races this season. The 2,000 guineas on Rodrigo de Triano, the July Cup on Mr. Brooks, and now the Juddmonte International on Rodrigo. Lester Piggott, not for the first or the last time, leads the field. And I'm afraid one has to hand it to those dreaded acrylic statistics. If he gets a load of stats against you, you might as well run away home. The Eclipse Hoodoo, Eclipse winners coming apparently with a major chance for the Juddmonte International. For no explicable reason, Kuyonga has run. She's run a stinker. No reason that we saw first of all, but we'll be having full reasons later on. There is the Philip Blacker bronze, and here now the trophy presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, what can I say after a race like that? A fantastic race. It must be one of the best races we've ever seen here, and what a very popular result. A marvellous win for Lester Piggott today on Rodrigo de Triano. We're delighted with Juddmonte on behalf of the York Race Committee, who so kindly sponsored this race. And it's with great pleasure now that I'm going to ask Mrs. Alice Chandler, wife of Dr. John Chandler, the manager of Juddmonte Farms in the United States, to present this magnificent trophy to Mr. and Mrs. Sangster. Our congratulations and well done. And again, thank you for bringing him here today.
Wade in, wade in.
Now to the trainer, Peter Ch4. What a fantastic season he's having, and our congratulations to him. A magnificent training team. Well done, Peter. And now the one and only, I don't need to announce him. Lester, step forward for your prize. Ladies and gentlemen. You've said it all, and we're so proud to have you here. And what a great race you rode. Congratulations, Lester. Now, thanks again, ladies and gentlemen, to Juddmonte Farms for sponsoring so kindly this race. And our thanks to Mrs. Chandler for doing the presentation. Please accept this small present. Thank you.
We're getting Lester Piggott for you in a couple of minutes. Let me just give you the news, first of all, that Kuyonga, what happened to the favourite who was virtually pulled up? Well, I can tell you the stewards are actually inquiring into the running of the favourite, Kuyonga. What actually happened? Warren O'Connor, the jockey, said, Derek, I don't know. She felt very lifeless. She's not lame or anything like that, but they aren't machines. They are racehorses, and sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. She certainly didn't do it there. But what about the other horses that certainly ran better? All at Sea, her trainer, Henry Cecil, said, you've got to hand it to the winner. The winner really is exceptional because his filly ran very well indeed. Will now possibly go for the Queen Elizabeth at Ascot, followed by the Champion Stakes at Newmarket. The third horse, the Apple Rhymer, I thought David Ellsworth did a very good training job there. Cash Asmussen confirmed that view. He said the horse will improve, and they're on course for the Arc de Triomphe. Dr. Devious, I think he also has the Arc as his objective, but we'll wait and see on that. But John Reed said very pleased with him indeed with his first run for a long time. The others, Zoman, Alan Monroe, said the horse felt quite flat all the way. Of the others, Ruby Tiger, Richard Quinn said he was beaten turning for home. And Al Nasser Al-Washiq, Steve Corton said he was pleased with him until he blew up and with about a furlong to run. Well, that's the news on the horses that didn't win. What about the winning owner? He's with Robert Sangster, Bruscon.
Robert Sangster, the glory days back and the years rolled back with Lester Piggott on board Rodrigo.
Great win. I've never
heard a crowd more enthusiastic at York in the sort of 25 years I've been coming here. And I'm obviously delighted for myself. I'm delighted for Leicester and the horse.
And these obviously were the tactics to come from behind. But
Yeah,
you see Leicester for a long time, come from the way back. But it was a big task.
Well, I pulled up outside the weighing room when I arrived at 1:45, and Leicester got out of the taxi, and so the old adage, you back the first train or the first jockey, and he came over to me. He's never ever done that before. Yeah. Well, he's always... And he said, we've got a terrible draw. Well, I must admit, a mile and a quarter, I haven't actually looked at the draw. And so he said, what do you want me to do? Well, yeah, I said, drop back.
And here he is, Leicester. Many congratulations. Robert was saying he saw you get out of the taxi today, and you were very worried about the draw.
That's right. Well, it couldn't have been worse, though, and especially in that race, because you're nearly on top of the turn, and you're pretty wide out there, you know.
And looking at the race early on, it seemed that it was quite difficult to settle him, wasn't it, just early on?
Well, not really, but, you know, the one horse came up on my inside, and I had to let him go, and, you know, they were just stopping and starting a bit, so, you know, wasn't as simple as all that.
It's not quite as simple as that. You make it look simple, but you got him settled at the back, but you had a lot of horses in front of you. How cool were you with the engine beneath you?
Well, I was, you know, I was always happy all the way, you know. I was surprised when the fillies, you know, when we got in the straight, about a furlong in the straight, she was finished. And I just flipped over to the left a bit, and I just cruised up behind the rest of them, you know.
And all those thoughts we had about the distance and the Guineas being almost the maximum of his trip, I mean, this trip he seemed to see out really well.
Well, it's an easy track, you know. I just glided there, you know.
Well, you've glided there for a long time now. But, Lester, what do you think his best trip is? Do you think a mile is his best trip, or do you think that's, you know, you obviously can take them all a mile a quarter?
Well, I think he's adaptable. I think he's a very good horse.
Very good horse. Yeah. And this change of pace he seems to do, you know, you seem to be able to change it when you quicken up very, very...
Yeah, well, you know, he's got some brains, you know, he knows what to do. And, you know, it just comes when it's the right time.
Well, you've all been making plans in touch to others with Robert, but the Breeders' Cup has obviously been a long-term talk about that. You believe in the Breeders' Cup?
Yeah, certainly, Bruff. But, I mean, it's a mile or a mile and a half. There's a mile and a quarter on the dirt, isn't there? No, I wouldn't fancy the mile and a quarter on the dirt, to be honest. But it's up to Leicester to decide. He's the boss.
You're the boss, then. How about that, Leicester? But a mile?
Well, we'll see when we come to it.
Well, it's great to look forward to, and thank you very much. Even by your standards, the reception when you came in here was so strong. What does that feel like?
It's the biggest I've ever seen.
Well, this is York, you know, it's terrific to be here.
Well, it's great to all about. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, it was a great occasion. Let's relive it now, because there's certainly one or two surprising performances. Surprise in the way the race unfolded. Steve Cawthon, a model of concentration nearest to us. You can also see further along Frankie Dettori with goggles down, waiting. Alan Munro further ahead in the salmon colours of green. He's ready for the gates to ping open. So they opened. How would the cards be played? Well, for the first furlong, it seemed John as though nothing wanted to go on.
Now, Ruby Tiger just running a little bit too free on the far side with stable companion Zoman. Dr. Davis on Zoman's inside, and now it's left to Terramon just to take them along with Al-Nasser Al-Rashid just sitting on the inside taking. Now just look right at the back now at Rodrigo, because he's just about to settle. He just at one stage looked as though he was just going to really get going, and Leicester just took a good hold and the horse dropped a bit and relaxed, and there he's not even in the picture now. Got him really well switched off. Kuyanga at this point travelling quite nicely on the outside, and they've gone a decent clip.
Yeah, if you watch as they take into the turn and just watch John Carroll's horse, which is Bob Zao, who's behind Steve Cawthon a minute, you see John going into the turn now. His horse just begins to struggle as the pace increases, and for a moment Pat Edery following him through on All at Sea just has to check slightly, but obviously that made no difference. Now Steve just gradually winding it up now. You can see Alan Munro on the outside on Zoman. He's beginning to pump. Michael Roberts definitely is on Terramon. Leicester still last. Remember, he used the phrase he's glided there on this horse. He didn't really have to use it. But look at Kuyanga now. She's her noseband shaded, but she's towards the rear. Now you get a full shot of it. She's already in serious trouble, and the race hasn't really begun.
Yeah, in a way it was good that she went as quickly as she did, because she didn't get involved in a real big battle at the end. Obviously not herself today, but God, she doesn't owe anybody anything. Got one slap from Warren O'Connor and then he sat still and looked after her. Now just look at those familiar colours of Mr. Sangster, and Leicester already got this race won. All at sea, coming to challenge Al Nasser Al Rashid. At one stage, turning for home, we got a shot of Al Nasser Al Rashid, and he looked to be absolutely cruising. He just seemed as though he didn't quite get the mile and a quarter here. As All at Sea looks to be getting done plateau here by Rodrigo, and then right in the last 50 yards, just looks to be just coming back again. But Leicester just nudging along hands and heels.
Well, I'm watching this with Michael Corns, the trainer of Kuyonga, and what happened? Any explanations, Mike?
No, I went into the stewards and I said I had the classical reason to give you. I have no explanation.
None at all.
And my explanation is that I have no explanation. We have no reason for that run at all. I've been over here since Sunday. I've been monitoring her progress. It's not as though I just flew in 2 hours before the race and had a look at her and said, yeah, she looks grand or anything. She worked on the track yesterday morning, and I have to say, we even brought her up after the 2:35 across the course, which is slightly unusual. They usually bring them up just before the race so that she didn't get upset once she was over here. So up to the time I legged Warren O'Connor up, I was very happy with her. She was a total bitch to saddle, which is a good sign. She had about 6 drives with the travelling head lad and 2 drives with me, and I was absolutely thrilled when she went out. She was just sweating the right amount. She got the best turned out prize.
I mean,
this is a funny race, you know.
Was there a thought that she could have been got at in any way? If she showed you that before the race, obviously she was in a usual good form.
I find that hard to believe. We arrived over on Sunday, as I say, and John Smith kindly put on security on Sunday night. We always bring extra staff with us who, during the day, one of my staff has an eye on her box door at all times during daylight. At night, the stable security men, if you want to go and see your horse, they accompany you, so it's very hard for anybody to go near a stable door. Yes, you must always think about that, but I think, you know, that we've taken as many precautions as we possibly can.
Could the eclipse in the race in Germany perhaps have just taken too much out of her?
No.
No? That's not a reason.
She was only racing for 2.5, 3 furlongs in the eclipse, and she only raced about 100 yards in Germany. Admittedly, the travelling is always something that's going to take things out of horses. But no, I'm sorry, Derek, it comes back to what my late father-in-law Tom Draper always said: horses are not machines.
It's absolutely true. Well, I mean, thanks for coming on and saying it. How hard is it for you, you know, because you were fancied, strongly fancied to win, everybody says Kuyonga's going to win, and to finish tailed off? How hard?
Well, first of all, she wasn't tailed off, she was pulled up.
Yeah, sorry.
Slight difference.
Exactly.
Warren did say that if he'd given another 3 or 4 around the backside, he could have finished and he might have beaten one. Now, there's absolutely no future in that.
Exactly.
So he did pull her up. Of course it's hard. I mean, you hate seeing good horses beaten. It's a lot easier to take when you've got 4 Group 1s and £909,000 behind you, particularly for a filly, and you know that that's obviously too bad to be true. But what we have to do now is go home and have a look at her and wonder why she's done it, or find out. We have a rule in Ireland, which I personally could recommend to the English Jockey Club, that where any horse of ours runs particularly poorly, if we subsequently find a reason, we are duty-bound to report that.
Yes.
Under penalty of a heavy fine, if we don't do so, like if they travel badly to the races, or if they did find to be in season, or if we find they bled afterwards, or something like that. And I've said to the stewards here that naturally, if we find some such reason for her bad running, and in deference to the public as well, that we will be only too happy to make that
available to the public.
Information available to whoever wants to know about it.
Good talking. Our commiserations to you and to everybody at Backton. Mike, thanks for coming on talking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what a supreme example of sportsmanship there by Michael Cornt. So courteous, so informative, suffering the agonies of defeat with Kuyonga. And the stats did tell you that she was in trouble, although she defied them in the eclipse. She's now the 11th horse who've come on in 21 runnings of the International, the 11th horse to have been first past the post in the eclipse, and every single one of them have now been beaten. But of course the story right round here, and they were even applauding Lester Piggott, and they couldn't see him when he was receiving his award out there. He first rode on the Knavesmire in 1951 on this very day. He was third on Sir Percy Lorraine's Auroch, and he won his first race here in 1951 on Grani. And he now turns up with his 5th international 41 years later. How popular that was with so many of the smaller punters. The bookmakers reporting a light betting race, although Michael Simmons of Heathorns did lay 15,000 to 2 against the winner, when the bookmakers around him were calling 8 to 1. One punter went in with 15,000 to 2, Rodrigo, so that was a loser to him. A light betting race, but remember, Peter Tappelheim, interviewed by Tomo beforehand between Dr. Devious and Rodrigo. He plumped for Rodrigo. Listen to Channel 4, listen to Tomo's interviews, the trainer told you. Thank you, Peter. A lot of people listen to that.
And incidentally, the clock confirms what the eye is telling us about the quality of that race. It did look fast run. It did look as if it was a really classy performance. 2 minutes 7.19, the winning time. She's second only to Personal Heights time 4 years ago, in that year when the ground was extraordinary and everybody broke the track record practically. But it's nearly 3 seconds faster than the standard time here, so a cracking time for a really brilliant race for the Juddler International. A complete finishing order now. Graham Good will run us through.
And so our winner is Rodrigo de Triano, second all at sea. Third was Seattle Ride, a great run by that horse, right back to form, beating the Derby winner Dr. Devious in fourth place. A personal best by Masad in fifth, though man on ground perhaps too fast in sixth. Seventh was Al Nasser Al Rashik. Eight, Ruby Tiger, a little bit disappointing because it's track. Nine, Jeffrey Marlowe. 10th was Terrymon, won the race last year, different conditions today. 11th was a rank outside of Bob Zoya, and then trailing the field, pulled up, says Michael Cornso. Trainer Warren O'Connor on Kuyonga.
Looking forward to the Arc de Triomphe of the likes of Seattle Ryan and Dr. Devious. We're looking forward to some leisure now. 4 of these runners for the Great Voltager are engaged in the leisure. Spencer, Bonnie Scott, Colorific and Sonus. So a fascinating leisure trial. The Great Voltager Stakes, it's Group 2, almost £50,000 for the winner. 6 runners, 59.
And number 1 is Alflora, Michael Rodrigo, John Reed, 3 Bonnie Scott, Frankie Dettori. Number 4 is Colorific, Pat Edery, 5 Host Willie Carson, and number 6 Thomas, the Mount of Steve Cawthon. Let's check the betting.
Bonnie Scott is the 6 to 4 favourite, opened up at 5 to 4. Sona 7 to 2 opened at 5s, and Assessor 4 to 1 from 7 to 2. Colorific is 9 to 2 from 4 to 1. Alflora steady on 7s, and Host the Outsider 50 to 1. All quoted for the Great Voltager Stakes.
This, the dial the distance race, the winning distance to be guessed between the first and the second, official one from the judge. Still got a chance to do it. Get on quickly. 0891 100 195. Winning distance 0891 100 195. 3 £100 to be won and announced by the end of the programme. Ring now. Here we come.
The handsome form of Bonnie Scott, ridden by Frankie Dettori, swinging on down to the start. Something of a heartbreak horse for those who remember him from last year, because in the early part of the season he was singularly disappointing, to the point that I almost felt he might be unwilling, but much more sparkle about him on his last 2 starts, and he was an easy winner at Goodwood last time.
Yes, he looks a lot happier now they've begun to hold him up. Looks much happier when he comes with a run. Looks in good form with himself.
Too happy about that van.
He moves to post really well. There's something, I've got a feeling that it's those bullocks that we were looking at earlier, just upsetting him slightly. Frankie Dettori doing the right thing, just taking his feet out of the irons.
What do you think, John? Could it have been that van on his inside?
No, because he was running towards the van. There was something over on his right that was just upsetting him slightly, whatever it is. He seems perfectly happy with himself. Now looks in really good form with himself. Just going through onto the course. No harm done.
An attractive bay with black points. And he's over whatever little tantrum he had. trio there, led by Sonus, the man of Steve Corson, colt by Sadler's Wells, out of Sound of Success, slightly racecourse, improving, but we're looking at Assessor, John Reed's mount, a colt by Nanitsky. Big planer type of horse, with wearing an Australian noseband. We haven't seen him run this season, sorry, we haven't seen him run since the Derby, when he was a big disappointment.
He's actually favourite for the Derby, Jim, at one stage, after winning the Lingfield Derby trial.
And he was simply never going well, John, was he?
No, it was never travelling at all. Maybe the ground was a little bit on the soft side for him. Quite an easy action horse.
Well, what went wrong? That was the question. We can't answer it, but Richard Hannon could, or attempted to Derek before racing.
I don't know, he got badly knocked over after the first couple of furlongs, and then he got him back in there again, and he got knocked over again. I think the horse said to hell with it in the end. They started to sweep down the hill. It was a big field, and he just never got back in the race, basically.
So what about today? He's been off for a long time. How fit is he for this big race?
Oh, he's fit, you know. We've done plenty with him, and he just never really shows you too much at home. I mean, he's very relaxed in himself, and he doesn't, you know, he wouldn't impress you at home. But, I mean, when he's a different horse, you know, I think.
Assessor put in at 4 to 1/3 best. Takes back Sonus from 5 to 1 to 7 to 2. Earol 6 to 4 Bonnie Scott. Although 23 favourites in 47 runnings and won it. It's then 5 to 1 Colorific, 8 Alflora, 50 the Rag Host. But Sonus, that's the one that's been back against Bonnie Scott.
Well, Sonus hasn't run for some time. Watching him go down to the start, the horse who's appreciated a little bit more cut in the ground. Having said that, you'll probably win doing handstands. Looks to be a fascinating volunteer, this John Graham.
Alflora makes the running, and Colorific is detached by about 3 lengths from the main group of runners, the main body. Headed by Alflora with Host in second place, Sonus out wide third. Bonnie Scott the rail 4, Assessor in the black colours, and then Colorific is 6 of the 6 as they go for the first quarter mile. And he was ridden that way last time out. So Alflora leading from Sonus in second place, and then coming third on the rail is Host, taking quite a keen hold. It'll be interesting to spot the race, the pace of this race, or at least the time of this race, because they don't seem to be going that fast. Assessor is on the outside, dark coloured yellow cap, and Colorific from off the pace. So they make that turn down towards the mile pole, and it's Alflora leading with Sonus on the outside, and then Host the rail, followed through by Bonnie Scott, then Assessor, and then Colorific still yet to make his move, and they come down to the 7 marker. And in the lead, Alflora from Sonus, and then Host the rail, and Assessor just being niggled along is Assessor in 4th place there. John Reed getting after him. They pass the 6th pole to keep his position. Bonnie Scott's 2 lengths behind, and 2 behind that one, Colorific. Starting to turn in, come down past the 5, and it's Alflora. And Michael Roberts leading, from Sonus on the outside showing second. And then Host the rail, and Assessor outside, followed by Bonnie Scott and Colorific. Heading for home now. Come down to the 4. Alflora from Sonus, and then Host the rail, then Assessor. Bonnie Scott's going to have to find room to challenge, but plenty of room to do so. And Colorific still the back marker. Come down past the 3. Something's happened to Colorific. Pat's looking down, looking behind, looks as the horse has lost his action. They come down towards the 2, and it's a race of 5 now. Alflora and Sonus, with Bonnie Scott finding room. Furlong to go, and it's Sonus with Bonnie Scott pressing on the outside. Alflora the rail, and it's Bonnie Scott that comes to do battle with Sonus. Inside the final furlong, Bonnie Scott going the better. Length looks like a good horse, and it's Bonnie Scott going on by a length. Length and a half, and Bonnie Scott takes it. Bonnie Scott from Sonus with Assessor in third, Alflora, and a big break then to the last place, number 5 Host, as Colorific has been pulled up. The result then of this, the Great Vaudica Stakes, is a win for horse number 3, Bonnie Scott. This one in the colours of Lord Weinstock, trained at Newmarket by Frankie Dettori, trained at Newmarket by Luca Chiumani, ridden by Frankie Dettori, the 58th winner of the season, and bred at the Ballymacall Stud Farm. Well done to all them. Second horse home is number 6 Sonus, third number 2 Assessor.
Well, they've gone a nice even gallop from the start, and Graham Goose just telling me, thankfully, that Colorific seems to have pulled up okay. Just went lane 4 a moment. And Frankie Dettori pushing now, getting Bonnie Scott into top gear. And he didn't have the best of runs early on. I think probably given a better run, he'd have been going for home earlier. But Sonus wasn't going to give in either. And there's no doubt that early on, as Jim said, we thought maybe this horse had his own ideas about the game, but there's no doubt that he stuck his head out in really good fashion to win this race this afternoon. And although Sonus is chasing them, there's a fair gap back to the third horse. Really lovely shot of Frankie Dettori. But here's the SP.
First number 3, Bonnie Scott, 11-8 favourite. The second number 6, Sonus, 7-2. And third number 2, Assessor at 9-2. The tote paid £2.30 the win. The place is £1.40 and £2 exactly. And the dual forecast came to £4.80 and 6 rounds. And at Folkestone in the 320, the winner here, number 1, Ephra, 12-1. Second number 8, Kashmiriana, 14-1. And third number 9, Juiceer at 9-1. Number 2, High Tech Honda was the 15-8 favourite, but was disqualified from first place and 11 rounds.
Frankie Dettori coming into the place of honour. Hear the applause. Frankie and his friend Luke Kamani had a slow start to the season, but a powerful team like that is a very good one to get on your side for the second half, and I think a lot of big winners are likely to come before the season's over. We'll take a break.
Has taught the French and Spanish to leave their melons on the stem longer, to ripen naturally. Now Safeway do this too. That's why we're the first to guarantee the sweetness of our melons. Safeway, where good ideas come naturally.
Some people find that traditional indigestion tablets leave a chalky, gritty taste in their mouth. New Remigel are different. You'll find they're soft, chewy and minty. Remigel dissolves smoothly, work quickly and effectively to help soothe away indigestion. New Remigel. They're chewy, not chalky.
Come into Dixon's to test drive any camcorder and we'll give you a copy of the tape you shoot absolutely free. Not only that, you'll find all the top brands, the latest models and great deals. Like this Sanyo camcorder, now under £500. Or this Sanyo with 8 times power zoom, intelligent autofocus, remote control and accessories worth £150. Whatever kind of camcorder you're looking for, there's a great deal going on at Dixon's.
If, for the walls in your home, a silk finish is a little too shiny, but a matte finish a little too flat, try Vinyl Soft Sheen from Dulux. Its delicate mid-sheen will bring a natural softness and warmth to your home. Vinyl Soft Sheen from Dulux.
Over the years, millions of volunteers have given up their spare time to help defend our nation as members of the reserve forces, of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. We think they deserve your support. After all, who knows where we'd be without them?
No, you can't put that in there. It's fine china.
Yes, I can. Wedgwood approved Finish Ultra because it cleans and cares for patterns like this.
Says who?
Says here. Okay.
Wedgwood?
Brilliant cleaning starts with finish.
New Glade Plug-in's air freshener.
Plug it in, plug it in.
It keeps on fragrancing your room without you even knowing it's there.
Plug it in, plug it in.
New Glade Plug-ins freshens for 30 days by gently warming this refill cartridge. Try Glade Plug-in.
Plug it in.
Pick any Safeway melon for only 89p. Safeway, where good ideas come naturally.
With us now, winning trainer Luca Kumani, who of course trained Bonnie Scott's father, Comanche Run, to win the St. Leger. Bonnie Scott is in the St. Leger. That was the target.
That is the target, yes. He's going to run next in the St. Leger. He reminds me a lot of his dad. I've had quite a number of Comanche runs in training, and he's the most similar to his father. And in many, many ways, not a physical appearance and the way he behaves, the way he acts and everything else. So let's hope that the omens continue.
An early part of the season, he was a horse who had a lot of promise. He began to exasperate people a bit. It just didn't seem to work. But what was actually wrong?
I can't tell you. I almost nearly gave up on the horse after he ran at Lingfield and at Ascot. I thought, well, this horse isn't really progressing the way he should have done. He was just running flattish races, and he was working flat at home too. You know, very lazy, very disinterested. Then all of a sudden, before he ran at Newmarket, he started showing some sparkle again. I think the horse just came to himself. Maybe he didn't like the wet weather in the spring or the cold weather. He just enjoys the sun and the summer. And he just all of a sudden started blossoming and all of a sudden found a turn of foot that he didn't appear to have earlier on.
Yes, because in the race, in fact, they didn't seem to go very fast, and indeed it looked as if he had to work quite hard to really pull them back through two or three furlongs out, Luca.
Yeah, Frankie said that he was always going to win. He said it was just a matter of giving him a smack, and when he gave him a smack, the horse just took off. And obviously they weren't stopping him from. See here, I mean, he's coming. He's not a horse prone to overexert himself. As you can see, he's just doing enough for Frankie here. Frankie looks fairly confident because he just pulled the whip through now. He's given him one now. And I think from now on it's just hands and ears.
Now, the style he's running on, it looks as if a mile and 3/4 ought to with his compass, but you know better than anybody, it is unknown territory. How confident are you that he'll get there for 2 furlongs?
I think he will get it. Comanche Run just got it, but he's out of a Shirley Heights mare, so there's enough stamina on the female line, also on the rest of the family on the female line for him to get it, I think. I think that wouldn't be my worry. My worry would be whether on the day he's good enough to beat the opposition.
And on the wider front, the stable took some time to fire this season, but it's beginning to go pretty strong now. And Mazad ran a very good race in the International.
I was very pleased with Mazad because it's very difficult to know where he fitted against English horses, top-class English horses, because he ran 2 good races in Italy earlier on in the season. And then he won a graduation, a condition race at Newmarket very easily. And today was the very first time that we pitched him in against good horses. I still feel the horse is pretty mature and will still improve, both physically and mentally, and will have learned a great deal from today. So I look forward to having him next year.
There's plenty of shots on the target for Kumani.
We hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruff.
So, Luke Kumani, we'll take another break.
Buy a specially banded pack of Colgate plaques and we'll send you a £2 cash back. Which is a lot more than the Tooth Fairy ever gave you.
It's not quite right. I mean, what it needs is a little,
Good old Grandad's looking after the kids in his own particular way.
Oh! Dear. Grandad.
Luckily, Crown Solo self-undercoating gloss and Advanced one-coat emulsion will cover that lot up in no time.
Nice one, Grandad.
Yes. Oh, hello.
What do you think?
Green.
Make your home your own with Crown.
It's high in polyunsaturates and low in saturates and has a
Song that no longer rhymes.
What doesn't rhyme?
Polyunsaturates doesn't rhyme. Do I have to spell it out for you? That's it. I quit.
high and polyunsaturates and low in saturates, and a song that no longer hides. That's right.
Hey, that's my line.
Red wine, tea, strawberry. When it's raining stains, look for a washing powder that's not just concentrated, but super concentrated. New Surf Micro Plus. It's the best surf yet, squaring up to really stubborn stains. When surf's as good as this, why pay more?
New, the Wilkinson Sword Protector. A razor so sharp that it has to be kept behind bars.
Life needs a strong man.
Protective guard wires mean that while the shave is close, as you would expect from Wilkinson Sword, it will be the safest wet shave you've ever had. The safest wet shave ever. Protector. New, only from Wilkinson Sword.
If you were to prepare your own tandoori fried rice, you'd need some rather special ingredients, like cayenne pepper, ground turmeric, and cardamom, and something to carry them home in. Fortunately, bachelors have managed to combine the whole exotic caboodle, and you'll probably find the packs a little easier to maneuver in the high street. Bachelor's Special Fried Rice.
To make life easier in the bathroom, Jif have created new Jif Mousse. You just spray it on. The mousse works into every awkward corner. Leave it to work for a few moments while it cleans and helps against line scale, and rinse. Leaving a perfect shine and a pleasant smell. New Jif Mousse. Perfectly effortless results.
This is the horse ambulance coming past the winning post, and inside is Colorific. Now, you saw in our last race that he pulled up in the Great Voltigeur just about a furlong and a half from home. And what's happened, he's got a pelvic injury. That's the news from trainer Barry Hills and racing manager Grant Pritchard Gordon. The horse did walk up the steps into the box, so if he could do that, well, fingers crossed he might be all right. But the horse was standing there, but he has obviously suffered some sort of an injury to his pelvic area. They're going to take the horse now into the vet stable to give him a full inspection, and that's the news on Colorific.
The ambulance going back very gently there with Colorific. Now going back to the winner, Bonnie Scott. He's the 24th favourite in 43 runnings to win the Voltigeur, and he's the 5th horse to win Goodwood's Gordon Stakes and the Voltigeur, and he now goes for the St Leger, as you heard when Brough interviewed Luca Comani. Well, 28 Voltigeur winners, first run in 1950, have run in the St Leger, 9 have won, but only 3 have done it in the last 21 years. Reference Point, Bastino and Athens Wood. But I have to report tremendous confidence behind the 2nd and 3rd to reverse the placings on Town Moor. Now, John Gosden said of Sonus, a mile and 6 is just what he needs. And that runner-up in the Voltigeur were 4 horses, runners-up in the Voltigeur, gone one better in the Leger, Snurge and Light Cavalry, Aurelius and Ballymoss. And the 3rd, Assessor and Richard Hannon, particularly bullish he was. Just what we need is the Leger trip, he says, and he's very confident that he will reverse the placings. Steaming up on the outside, as you saw, Assessor, were 3rd in the Voltigeur to win the Leger, Mood Madness in 86, and Touching Wood in 82. No bookmaker betting on this has come to light, but there's no doubt we're going to have a fascinating St Leger. The first 3 in the Voltigeur all believe they're going to win the last Classic.
And here's an SP from Folkestone, the 355, won by number 2, Snowy River, the 11th to turn on favourite. Second, number 5, Daring Path at 8 to 1. And third, number 8, My Best Valentine at 50 to 1, and 11 rounds.
And the Voltigeur was, of course, the Derby distance race. What was Bonnie Scott's winning distance? It was a length and a half. Who got it right? Well, amongst those winners, The three who came out at random are Mr. Ellison of Maxfield South, Wirral in Merseyside, Mrs. Holroyd of Longsway, Wokingham in Berks, and Mr. Wadkin of Shawls Eaton Road, Bedworth in Warwickshire. Congratulations and £100 to all three of you.
These are the old weighing room scales. The jockey would have sat on there, and you'd have put, what, 9 stone 7 if he was carrying the top weight here, and if it balanced, he was perfect to ride in the race. This is one of the exhibits in the York Racing Museum here on the 3rd floor of the grandstand. I'm glad to say we've dragged up our own historian, John Tyrrel, JT, from his betting truck. JT, this is one of the oldest racecourses in Britain.
I think it has to be, Derek, because in the year 208, the Romans started racing here. It all started because the Roman emperor at the time, of course Britain was in a Roman colony, his name is Severus, and he was a great racing buff. He used to watch races at the Circus Maximus from luxurious bars and that kind of thing. What dragged him away from the local form book in the end was the fact that the Caledonians breached Hadrian's Wall, and the Roman 9th Legion was in disarray. And so the old boy he was 67 years old, he had to buckle on his armour and come across with an army and try and sort things out. And when he arrived here at York, which in those days was called Eboracum.
And hence the name, the Ebor, which is what we've got today.
That's absolutely right. And he was a very good general, and he always looked after his troops as good generals do. And he brought with him some Arab horses, and he set up racing, not quite on the Nasemar, not exactly where we are now, but not very far away. Somewhere between here and Acomb, anyway.
It's interesting you mentioned the Arab horses. So even then, 1,800 years ago, we have the Arab connection even now.
Yes, we certainly do, yes.
It's interesting. So then he popped off, and I believe he's still buried here in York.
Yes, he was the only Roman emperor to die in Britain, actually, and he is buried in York.
And when he died, racing dropped out. When did it resume here at the Nasemar?
Well, there was a dark period during the Tudor times, around 1530, that sort of thing, but really it was about the 18th century, 1731. There's always been a problem with the ground on the Nasemar, as the name implies. And a local seedsman called John Telford was brought
Another
in.
JT.
Another JT, exactly. Yes, that's quite right. I haven't thought of that one. Anyway, he reseeded the entire place, retested, and made the surface raceable. And that's when racing resumed on a proper scale.
So that was the mire taking care. What about the naves? When did the naves come into?
Well, that came about because for centuries this place had been used for public executions. And it occurred to the dignitaries in York that they might have a nice double-handed event if they coincided the race meeting in August with the York Assizes, which also take place in August. So they thought of the idea of hanging the villains in the morning, cutting them down so the spectators would see the racing in the afternoon, and that would draw a large crowd to the races. And indeed it worked. Many infamous villains were actually executed here, including Dick Turpin.
Dick Turpin, Black Bess and all that.
Oh, that's right.
Talking of Black Bess, what about the other horses? There's a horse over here that we've got a painting of. Voltiger, let's go and have a look at this one over here.
Well, Voltiger was a great horse owned by Lord Zetland. He was a dual classic winner. He won the Derby and the St. Leger in his year. And there was another horse called the Flying Dutchman that also won the same two classics in his year. In 1851, the Doncaster Cup cut up into a match because nobody would take them on, as often happens in top-class races today, I suppose. And in that particular case, Voltiger won the race, ridden by Nat Flatman, the then champion jockey. But many people thought that the Flying Dutchman was the moral winner, because unfortunately his jockey, Charlie Marlowe, was drunk at the time. So the two owners, Lord Zetland and Lord Eglinton, promptly arranged another match to be run here at York for £1,000 side stakes. And they reopposed, and they were handicapped by Admiral Rouse, the great handicapper of the period, at £0.5 difference between them. They could actually do that in those days. And of course, in the end, the situation was reversed. And indeed, the Flying Dutchman did win the match here.
Well, we haven't got a Flying Dutchman. We've got a great Voltiger race, and we've got his tail as well here in the museum. That's Voltiger. What about Jim Crack?
Well, Jim Crack was a pony-sized horse who won 26 races in 11 years. In the days when horses were handicapped by size rather than by ability.
Oh, really?
And the weights were allocated in accordance with a measuring stick. And this is the measuring stick here, which you can see now in the York Racing Museum.
So basically, that means the smaller the horse, the less weight it carries.
Correct.
So that means a good little one would always beat a good big one.
That's right, exactly. Yes.
The interesting point about Jim Crack is that he never won a race here at York.
No, he didn't. He ran twice, and he lost on both occasions.
Incredible.
But of course, there is a famous dinner.
Yes.
The Jim Crack Club was founded in his honour, and they have an annual dinner in December. And the owner of the winner of the Gimcrack Stakes every year has to make his feet, usually, as you know, on racing politics.
Exactly, yeah.
So he's well remembered.
JT, we've heard about the Gimcrack, the Voltigeur. What about the Ebor?
Well, the Ebor was the brainchild of John Orton, who was the clerk of the course here in 1842. He was a man of many parts. He was a great turf historian, a journalist, and he also ran a coffee house in York, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And he was brought in to really revive the course at a time when it was a very low ebb. And he had two things to do. One was to modernize the course, benefit of spectators and horses alike, and also to found a great race. And so he decided to frame what was then called the Great Ebor Handicap, originally run over 2 miles. The stakes were £20 to enter, £15 forfeit, with £200 added money. Now, I reckon, according to my calculations, that's worth about £34,000 today, so it was a prize well worth running for. And so really, I suppose he was the man who revived York, and you could say is the father of modern York.
JT, thank you very much indeed. Fascinating.
Thank you, Derek.
The marvellously learned John Tyrrel. I'm not quite sure about his plan to bring back hanging to improve racecourse attendances. I'm sure it would, but big Sunday race. Look at that, Sunday hanging. Anyway, enough of such nonsense, and on with our last race here. A big field too, no less than 23 runners, the maximum for the Eagle Lane Handicap, blazing up the 6 furlong straight course. I call this a nightmare for Graham Goode.
And they've won 122 races and over $1 million in win and place prize money. No slouches. Number 1, Sir Harry Hardman, Blinkard, Neil Kennedy claims 5. Number 2, Bold Les at 12, Steve Cortham, 3, Wild Rufo at 11, John Carroll. Number 4, Arthur Rompers, Blinkard at 3, Paul Edery. Number 5, Cumbrian Walser at 4, Mark Birch. Number 6, Stack Rock at 20, Jason Weaver claims to 5. And number 7, Master Planner at 18, Darren Biggs. Number 8 is Rose Indian at 10, Frankie Dettori. Number 9, Panikin at 5, Steve Williams claims a valuable 5. Number 10, Hard to Figure at 16, John Williams. 11, Plain Fact at 22, Michael Hills. Number 12, Finjan at 23, Alan Munro. 13, Green Dollar at 6, Lester Piggott, yet to make his way to post. Number 14, Clifton Charlie at 15, Richard Quinn. 15, Diminuate at 1, Gary Hyde. 16, Bertie Worcester at 21, Walter Swinburne. 17, Abwick Park at 19, Kevin Darley. Number 18, Apple Dawn at 9, John Reed. 19, Claybank at 7, Willie Carson. 20, Milagro at 17, Pat Edery. 21, Densben at 13, Kieran Fallon. 22, Gentle Hero at 14, Michael Roberts. And completing the lineup, number 23, Allison's Mate at 2, the man of Alex Greaves.
And here's how they bet. Cumbrian Walser, the 11-2 favourite, opened at 8-1. Claybank and Rose Indian, both at 12-1 from 10s. Also on the 12-1 mark are Adwick Park, Clifton Charlie, Densben, Hard to Figure. And Allison's Mate is 14-1, along with Bold Les. They go 16-1 bar those.
Well, Max said there's been 1 or 2 light betting heats, but judging by that show John Tyrrell just read, there looks to be the mother of all punts on Cumbrian Walser, a horse who goes tremendously well here, but in point of fact hasn't won a race this season despite several good efforts.
No, he's been showing up. Well, he looked magnificent beforehand. And with 23 runners, it'll be, well, you want even a lot more than 8-1 that was being offered about this horse, just getting a decent run in this race.
He's one of a number that you could fancy, isn't he?
Seldom runs a bad race, though, Cumbrian Walser. And Peter Easterby's horses, they've really been running with a vengeance the last 3 or 4 weeks, really. It's a purple patch. Wildy Rufo just walking round on the right, the grey horse, he's been on the go all year, got plenty of weight here, 9 stone 6. Which includes John Carroll. He's run some smashing races, been very consistent for Paul Kellaway.
He's actually just developed a bit of a problem at the stalls, John. He's given quite a lot of trouble on his last 2 appearances. It'll be interesting to see whether he's better behaved today. In the foreground, Alex Greaves on one of the leading Northern Hopes, Allison's Mate, a colt who's having only the 2nd race of the season. He was a good 4th on his reappearance in a well-contested race at Newcastle, giving the impression that the return to today's distance of 6 furlongs would suit him. He's well handicapped on the pick of his form from last season and his 2-year-old form. So anybody that's backed him looks to be on one with a live hope in what's obviously a difficult race.
Yeah, looked really well as well beforehand. Had Cumbrian Walser behind him, not far, about 4 lengths behind. There's Rose Indian. We've already seen her win this year. Given a splendid ride by Frankie Dettori.
She actually won that day quite comfortably at Newmarket, but the handicap has pushed her up a fair bit, and you'd have to think that to follow up again, despite the fact she won easily at Newmarket, that there's got to be a little bit of more improvement forthcoming. But she was quite a promising 2-year-old filly. The win we just referred to at Newmarket at the end of July was the first sign of her coming back to that 2-year-old form, so maybe there is more progress about to manifest itself. Mac, who's putting all this money on the Cumbrian?
Well, Jim, but I don't know if it is all that money. Now, the horse been back from 8 to 1 into 5 to 1. It was an 11 to 1 chance on the course. Its position is the bookmakers have got a one-horse book. And so many punters saw Cumbrian Waltzer running on, looking to be not hard held, but with something in hand at Haydock. And that's where they're steaming in for it here. It loves the track. Not great welts of money, but so little for anything else. 5 to 1 favourite now. 3 favourites and 9 runnings have won it. Money for Rose Indian, 12 to 1 into 10 to 1 against Rose Indian. Bold Les is a rag back there. It's now a solid 12 to 1 chance. Bits and pieces of plain facts at 16 to 1. Diminuet 20 to 1 into 100 to 6. And 12 to 1 Claybank. The bits and pieces of 14 to 1. Well, the fact is this Cumbrian Waltzer is a one-horse book. One horse are going to be losers in every bookmaker on the track if this Cumbrian Waltzer goes in. Very popular with a big Yorkshire crowd. 5 to 1. You thought it might be the mother of all gambles. Just to remind you what happened to Saddam Hussein's mother of all battles.
Yes, quite. Bold Les, Steve Cawthon in the foreground there. That's a really tough horse by Never So Bold. Wins his share, more than earned his keep for his connections over the years. Didn't run very well the last time we saw him. That was in the Stewards' Cup. What do you think today, John?
Well, he ran well prior to that at Sandown. Maybe he just didn't act at Goodwood, because most of his good runs have come at Sandown, where it's a stiff 6 furlongs there. Ran well behind Medai Door the time before that, where Sabab was second. That was a good run. Big solid horse. Got lots of weight, but I don't know that would bother him too much. He's got plenty of size about him.
There's old Dens Ben in the foreground with Kieran Fallon on. He was taken last and very quietly to post. He's a bit of a character, but look at the form figures. You can see he's in tremendous heart at present. He's won 4 of his last 5 races. Seems well suited by coming from off the pace, and he should get a really strong gallop to help him to do that here.
Profilic and Diet behind him at Redcar when he won last time. That's the Minuet. She looked magnificent before, and she's already won here this year. 2 more yet to go in. We saw Master Planner, just saw him edged left there in the yellow. Plain fact, the colours of Chris Wright. We've already seen him in action so far this afternoon. There won't be anybody riding with more confidence than Leicester. He rides Green Dollar for Eric Wheeler. Already, of course, winner here, Green Dollar.
Green Dollar, another who comes with a late burst. The loading up procedure, unusually really for these old sprinters. Despite the fact it's a big field, I thought they go in very quickly. They're taking quite a time. Obviously 1 or 2 of the ones in the first dozen have given a bit of trouble, but I think there's just 2 or 3 left to go. Dens Ben is certainly one of those down to go in towards the rear. Plain fact going in. GG, let's hope they don't split into 2 groups for you. You've enough on with 23.
They could well do, Jim. It'll be interesting to see where the Cumbrian Waltzer, a 5 to 1 shot, Rose Indian at 9 to 1. Diminuet, one of the last to go in. 12 wide. Interesting to see the effect of the draw in this race. That's it. They break away. On the right, Diminuet, Allison's Mate showing pace, North Orumbus, and Cumbrian Waltzer comes out of that group on the right. Down the centre of the track, racing fast is Bold Lead. Also up with the pace, showing well, Gentle Hero, Apple Dawn, and Wild Rufo. Whilst on the stand side, it's Master Planner who leads the show from Plain Fact. And also on the stand side is Stack Rock. They're through the first quarter mile now. And up with the pace, Claybank on the far side, and Bold Les and Wild Rufo and Gentle Hero, with Panic in racing fast. Just in behind these, Rose Indian. That's the group on the right. Cumbrian Walters just niggled along on the right, yet to make his move. Right down the stands rails, that's Stack Rock in company with Master Planner. They come down past the 2. Far side is Panickin, and Claybank and Rose Indian and Bold Les. Down the centre of the track, Milagro, right on the stand side, and they've got the advantage. Stack Rock and Master Planner with Finjan finishing fast. Inside the final furlong, this is a high draw race this, and it's Master Planner just going on. Master Planner and Stack Rock are going to take it. Master Planner just has it from Stack Rock, and a 5-horse wall for third place. We'll leave that to the judge. In that photo, hard to figure, Bold Les, Apple Dawn, Rose Indian and Dens Ben, and the back markers were Orthorumbus, and last but one was Clifton Charlie. The winner then of this, the Eagle Lane Handicap, that's number 7, Master Planner. Second, number 6, Stack Rock, and it's a multi-photo for third. Master Planner has got home at 16 to 1. The significance of this race is the draw, high numbers for the draw.
Time is beating us, as you can imagine. We'll bring you full SPs later in the Channel 4 programme. We're on air tomorrow at 2 o'clock, but we leave you with a last look at the Master. Lester Piggott has long said that this is his favourite racecourse. Once again, he was on top today, sweeping home in that Juddmonte International. And afterwards, when we interviewed him, it was almost sweet the way he said it after that extraordinary applause. He just said, well, this is York. See you tomorrow.